What's up guys, my name is Ace, and lately I've been getting quite a few comments asking me what's your class setup in that gameplay, or what are your favorite classes to use right now. So I figured it was time for an updated top 10 best class setups that I personally like using right now. Now before we get into the list, just a few things to cover here. First off, these are my favorite class setups that are fine-tuned for me and how I like to play. If these classes aren't working for you, I encourage you to make adjustments to make it better suit your playstyle. Additionally, when it comes to tuning, I will show the direction that I tune in, like which stat I will tune in the direction of, but I'm not going to share exact values. First off, because I don't think it's worth obsessing over these exact values. And second, it's generally just looking at the graph and trying to find that sweet spot where you stop seeing additional returns in the direction of that stat. That's how I tend to do my tuning, and I'd encourage you guys to do the same. And then finally, I did want to point out, I purposely tried to create at least some variety in this list. There are going to be a lot of SMGs here just because I really like using SMGs. It really suits my playstyle. But I did try to mix in some other guns from other classes, even though I don't use them quite as much as I would typically use SMGs or assault rifles. And without further ado, in no particular order, let's start it off with my Vel 46 all-around build. This is honestly one of my go-to builds. If I'm struggling or if I just want to have a really good game, this is one of the builds I will be pulling out because it's so versatile. With this, we've got the Bruin Pendulum, the Commando foregrip, the 50-round mag, the Schlager Soldier grip, and the Quickfire laser tuned in the direction of aim walking steadiness, which I think is a really underrated stat, by the way, that I feel like more people should look into. But with this, our aim down sight speed is very solid at 250 milliseconds. We've got a great time to kill potential and very good recoil as well. This is super easy to control. It kicks basically straight upwards with just a little bit of a zigzag. With all this combined, this just makes this an incredibly versatile gun. I also love that 50-round magazine so I can deal with 4 or 5 enemies before I need to reload often. And with all that combined, this just suits me really well. Next up on my list, we have the TAQ-V. This is still an excellent battle rifle. In my opinion, it's still the best full auto battle rifle to be using. And with this particular build, we've got the TV Cardinal stock, the Demo Clean Shot grip, the OLEV laser, the Edge 47 grip, and the Tempest GH50 muzzle. And with this, our aim down sight speed's a bit on the slower side at 310 milliseconds, but that's fine. We are going to be hanging back a bit more with this setup. It's not designed to be hyper aggressive. We've got a great time to kill potential at 210 milliseconds with a 3-shot kill. And one of the best things about this is it's very, very accurate. It basically just kicks straight upwards with very little side-to-side movement, which makes it very easy to control and predict. And when you factor in the fact that this also has a great range profile, this just makes this a very consistent gun for locking down lanes and just shutting people down as long as you're not playing overly aggressive. So while I don't use this one as often as I would typically use an SMG, if I really want to just slow down a little bit and lock things down, this is one of my top choices. After that, let's move into another one of my SMG builds. This is the Hurricane build that I really like using right now. And with this, we've got the Bruin Cubic Comp muzzle, the Commando foregrip, the Schlager Pec Box 4, so we don't have a visible laser, the Demo Quicksilver stock tuned for aim walking steadiness and aim walking speed, as well as the X10 grip. And this one is just excellent for getting around the map fairly quickly. You can strafe reasonably quickly, at least for Modern Warfare 2. We've got a very solid time to kill potential right up close and personal, but also the accuracy of this gun really allows you to stretch out and still be fairly comfortable taking on certain gunfights at like mid to longer ranges, despite the fact that our time to kill potential does increase quite a bit as you stretch out the ranges. Overall, while I wouldn't say this is the most competitive build out there, I do find a lot of enjoyment with it. I love the clean iron sight. I love the fact that we've got a solid magazine capacity by default, and I just typically find a lot of success with this build. Moving on, let's talk about a gun that I haven't really touched much since the game first launched. This is the Kastov 74U, which in the beta was the best gun in the game, and even in the first month after launch, it was pretty clearly at least one of the best guns in the game. And as a result, I used it a fair amount at the beginning, and then I just felt like I had overused it, and I kind of just put it away and stopped using it. But recently, I've resurrected this, and despite the fact that it's received some nerfs since launch, it's still an incredible assault rifle to be using, and this is the build that I'm really enjoying right now. So with this, we have the Second Tread 40 muzzle, the Phase 3 grip tuned for recoil stabilization and aim walking speed, the Atrazat stock tuned for aim walking steadiness and aim walking speed, and the TAQ grip. And with this, we've got a great aim down sight and sprint out time for an assault rifle especially. It's more like an SMG when it comes to handling. Same thing goes with our strafe speed. Since we're tuning in those directions, we get a pretty solid strafe speed for an assault rifle at least. It's surprisingly very, very accurate, and we've got a great time to kill potential with this as well. And I think this is still just an excellent hybrid between an assault rifle and an SMG, which really tends to suit my playstyle quite well. It may not be the best long-range assault rifle, I'm probably not going to stretch my gunfights too far with this, but for the majority of gunfights you'll find yourself in 6v6, this gun is still excellent. Now, let's get into number 5 on my list, and I did want to make sure I was sharing my favorite current pistol setup. And this is the P890. I really like the P890 still, and this is my consistency build that I'm going to have as my secondary on almost every class setup, although you can also use this as a primary weapon just fine. It can really hold its own. With this, we've got the SAGF90 flash hider, the Bruin Express trigger, the Series 710 pistol laser, the 12-round mag, and the Bruin RSH80 grip, which is the quick draw grip. And with this, our time to kill potential with a 2-shot kill is 170 milliseconds, which is very competitive with primary weapons in this game. So like I said, you can use this as a primary, especially due to the fact that it's very accurate. There's a fair amount of visual recoil, like your gun will kick up and obstruct the target, but it's one of those guns where you just have to trust it's gonna be on target, and it will be. And as a result, with all of this combined, I always feel very comfortable having this as my sidearm. If I run out of ammo with my primary weapon, I don't even worry all that much. I know that P890 is going to be capable of winning gunfights against most primary weapons in the game. Now with that, let's move on to the only stealth build I'm going to be sharing throughout this video. Now that stealth is at least somewhat viable in Modern Warfare 2, now that suppressors actually work the way that they should be working, as long as the enemy team doesn't get an advanced UAV up, then you're putting yourself at a disadvantage for using a suppressor. But with this, I really like using the PDSW with a suppressor in this game. I don't know exactly why I like it, but for some reason, it just seems to suit it really well. So with this particular build, I have the Forge DX90F muzzle, which is a suppressor. We've got the 1 milliwatt quickfire laser, the hollow extended stock, the Bruin Q900 grip, and the GR33 light rail. And with this, we have a really solid aim down sight speed. We've got a pretty good time to kill potential as well for an SMG. It's not like a big standout by any means, but still less than 200 milliseconds up close. It's also pretty accurate and easy to control. I generally have no problem with the recoil out to medium range, I'd say, for an SMG. And it also has quite a solid strafe speed, which I make sure to take advantage of in my gunfights. I'm always trying to strafe back and forth to dodge those shots. Now, of course, with this particular build, I will be combining it with the Ghost perk every single time I use it. And I will be the first to admit that it's not the best gun out there at winning face-to-face gunfights. It doesn't really excel with an amazing time to kill potential or anything. But at the end of the day, I've been using this quite successfully, and I do find that I'm often taking people off guard, because it seems like most people no longer expect anybody to use suppressors. So when I do, I just find that I'm really taking people off guard with it. After that though, let's get back to the battle rifle category, and I wanted to share my favorite semi-auto battle rifle, which is the FTAC Recon. And with this, we got the Second Tread 40, the Corio LAZ44 V3 laser, the Slimline Pro optic, the Demo Fade Pro stock, and the X10 grip. And with this, it's actually quite good for aggressive playstyles. We can get a one-shot headshot up close, which I'm really trying to take advantage of whenever viable. But even with a 2-shot kill, our time to kill potential is insane at 120 milliseconds, and there is very little recoil with this as well. So just an excellent all-arounder, and probably my favorite semi-auto to use in the game, just because it also really supports aggressive playstyles, more so than a lot of the marksman rifles out there. Next, let's bring out some of my sweaty class setups here. We've got the TAQ-56 all-around pub build that I like to use. We've got the FTAC Castle Comp, the Commando foregrip, the 5.56 high-velocity ammo since we're not using the Tango barrel. We've also got the Demo Clean Shot grip and the TV Cardinal stock. This gun just speaks for itself. It's got a great time to kill. It's insanely accurate and easy to control. It's got great iron sights on it. There's a reason this is the top AR for competitive play. And while I don't bring this out too often, if I just end up in one of those lobbies that feels like I'm playing ranked play in regular public matches, I may end up bringing this guy out, as well as the next build I'm going to be sharing here, which is my Vaznev pub class setup. With this one, we have the Bruin Pendulum muzzle, the Commando foregrip, the Schlager Pec Box 4 laser, the Atrazet stock tuned for aim walking steadiness and aim walking speed, and the TrueTac grip. Once again, this is just the top SMG used in competitive play, and while I typically like going off meta and not bringing this out too often, if I really want to go off in a game, or if I just find other people are using like top competitive setups, I will usually have this one on hand and ready to go, just so that I'm able to properly compete with those players. And with that, this leaves us with the last class setup I wanted to share here, and this is actually a setup I shared last week. This is my current favorite BAS-P all-around setup. And it might seem strange because the BAS-P was always a terrible gun for most of the life cycle of this game up until this point, but with the recent buffs it's been getting, it's actually become quite a solid SMG to use. And with this particular build, I've just been finding a lot of success. And like I said, I like going off meta a little bit, and this is a great way to do that while still being quite competitive and taking people off guard because they don't typically expect to be killed by a BAS-P. And with that, that is finally going to wrap it up for my current top 10 setups that I like using in Modern Warfare 2. Like I said, these are the ones that work for me. If you want to make some adjustments, I highly encourage you guys to do that in order to make these setups work a little bit better for yourself. But this is where I'm curious to hear your thoughts in the comments down below. Are there any guns that I didn't mention in today's video that you think deserve a top 10 spot and that you really enjoy using as well? Just let me know down below. If you enjoyed the video, a like rating is always appreciated. And don't forget to subscribe for more if you haven't already. I'll talk to you guys next time.